Josh Heupel, coach of the Tennessee Volunteer Football Team, joins us now. What's up, man?
Where's the better part of this trio
right?
today?
I'm surprised they let us do the show.
You talk about a disappointment.
Tell you what, boy, I'm telling you.
This is how we start. You've been around Rick Barnes too long, Josh.
Like, come on, man.
What about the Boom Boom Room? You ready for that?
No, don't even get him going on that. Don't even get, because guess what? I'm saving that for SEC Media Day. Because I got my team, my crack team, my crack research team.
Your team is on
doing
crack.
some real research. I'm
They're
getting
going
down
deep. Don't go too old school on me. Yeah, I'll be in trouble.
I'm taking just about 98, 97.
What's going on, man? How are you?
Doing great. Great to be here in Mid-State. Got a chance to see some of the fans on the way in. Looking forward to tonight, and so it's good to be here.
You guys have won 30 games in the last 3 years. Tennessee has not done that in football since 1998-2000. I can't believe you're headed into year 5, but are you on track as to kind of where you planned for this program to be, having gone to the playoff last year and still moving forward?
Love what our players and staff have built from the day we got there. We've never put a ceiling on what we're trying to accomplish.
Right.
And I think that was part of the buy-in from our players right away as we transitioned in. At the end of the day, man, we're here to go win championships, and that's what we're focused on moving forward.
Obviously, the Nico Iamaleava situation. I'm just curious from your point of view in today's world of college football with all of the transition and everything. How surprised were you with the way that all played out and that he's no longer on that roster?
Well, let's start calling it the Joey Aguilar situation.
Okay. I like it. I like it.
End of the day, that's just the landscape. You're not going to keep everybody. You got opportunities to put your roster together. I feel like we got a team that's accountable, connected, works hard, competes hard, and we're built to win. Now we got to go earn it every single day, and we got some new pieces that got to get onboarded here in the course of May. That's the nature of college football, and so we'll get ready and keep competing and keep growing.
One of the things that success breeds is being able to get guys to go to that next level. You didn't have to come in and hoot and holler and say, this is what we're going to do. Just go out here and watch the product, and we're going to put guys in the league. Watching this draft take place, guys being undrafted, but guys all getting an opportunity to sign. Got guys going in the first round year after year. What does that say, man, about your program?
It talks to the talent of the players, what we have from a coaching staff, from a scheme, the development of the player. That's off the field too, weight room, medical. Yeah. It takes everybody to help these guys go be their best. And we got elite people in the building that our players have built trust with. They know we have a clear roadmap for where they're at and where they need to get to go achieve their goals and dreams. It's one thing to have a dream, and then what's your roadmap to get there? And we do a great job of putting all those pieces together. And then at the end of the day, the player, the sacrifices that he's willing to make, the work that he's willing to put in, continue to dictate their flight. And there's nothing better as a coach, seeing guys have the opportunity to take the jump to the next level, to fulfill their dreams. I was in their shoes at one time too, and you want that, and we want that for our guys. And it's fun to sit back, watch our guys get drafted, and then see the success of those guys. Yeah. During training camp, as guys get started and throughout the course of the season, we try to pull clips of guys that are making big-time plays in games, and the journey that they're on the flip side of it too. And because of the guys, they're able to know those guys, see the traits that are allowing them to make a career out of it versus it just being a job. They're in and out of it, and there's a big difference.
Josh Heupel with us on 3HL. You mentioned the young guys at quarterback. What did you see from Jake Merklinger and George McIntyre on the scene now? And you mentioned Joey Aguilar. What do you like about the player there?
Yeah, the two guys that were with us, George is first-time enrollee, physically making some of the gains that he needs to for him to be ready to compete this coming season. He's super bright, grew throughout the course of spring ball, fundamentals, technique. When he got to a game day-like situation, spring game, scrimmages, he was willing to cut it loose and go play and play the next play too. It's never going to be perfect. And Merck's done a great job in, essentially, 15, 16 months of really growing in the understanding and command of what we're doing offensively, fundamentally continuing to grow to be consistent with his delivery of the ball, decision-making. Where we're at and where we need to be next fall, those are two different things. They got to put in the work, and that's true of Joey when he gets here, too.
I know we have limited time with you, obviously, but a lot of orange in here, man.
This has gone really quick.
Yeah. No boom boom room this time.
That's because I let him off the hook right now.
Right.
It's all right.
Nothing better than being in mid-state and seeing a bunch of orange.
Love it, man. Good to see you. We'll visit again.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
Go Big Orange.
There's Josh Heupel, Tennessee football coach, and again, 30 wins in the last 3 years for this group, and they haven't done that since 1998 and 2000. Kim Caldwell is going to be next at the table as the Lady Vols basketball coach is rolling in here. And, man, the attention here, the love here, the cheerleaders are here, Smokey's here, the band is here, and Kim Caldwell is here, Lady Vol basketball coach. Kim, what's up? How are you?
Good. How are you?
We're doing well. So, you implement a completely different system than what was here previous. You win 24 games, you go to Sweet 16, and you have a baby. That's a hell of a year, man.
It was quite the year, I will say.
How did you keep it going? And I'm curious with the challenge of Connor, the baby aspect of this, and running a high-profile program. How challenging was that?
Yeah, I don't really recommend doing it that way.
Out of season next time, maybe?
Yeah, we'll try to time it a little bit better, God willing, next time. It was a blur, really, but we had a great staff. Our players were great from the moment we announced our pregnancy. They knew that they were going to have to step up for a little bit of the season, and I think they did that.
Jenna did a great job down in Texas, man.
No question. Yeah, no question. Fault for that. This is what I want to ask you. Your team does a terrific job of recruiting itself, your players taking care of it. But speak about your staff, because what you've put together in this portal and also with this freshman class that's walking in, this hasn't been seen in quite some time right here in Tennessee. So with you coming in, was this your expectation?
Yeah, I mean, now I guess we got to find out if I can coach. Now that we got the talent, we got no excuse anymore. Yeah, I will say our team does a phenomenal job recruiting.
Yeah.
Anytime a player comes to campus, they do a good job of just letting their personality shine,
Right.
letting them be themselves. And our staff has really hit the ground running. I think that's the most important thing. That was the biggest learning curve for me. Is coming to this level. I didn't have ties. I hadn't been watching people at this level, and so making sure that we had the right staff that already had relationships with players and could hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Yeah, Slade mentioned the recruiting came out today. Number 1 portal class, number 2, and number 1, depending on the site, high school recruiting class. Have you been surprised at how accepting of the message it's been this quickly in?
Yeah, I am incredibly grateful to our freshman class because they all really committed before we were proven. So they saw the vision. They came and they signed for a coach who had a different background, who was getting a lot of flack, who hadn't been here, was basically a nobody. And those relationships had to be quick. They weren't situations where we had recruited them for years and years and years because we had just gotten the job. So they really understood what we were selling, and they bought in before we even really got deep into play. They signed up for it, which will always mean something to me.
Up and down the floor, intense, all go all the time.
Let it fly.
Let it fly.
Let it fly.
I'm curious, General Nealon used to talk about how we want the games to be easier than the practices. I can't imagine how intense your practices are for them to be able to do that on game night.
It's about 2.5 hours of up and down. And our entire practice is up and down. So if we're doing 1-on-1, it's full court. If we're doing 2-on-1, it's full court. If we're doing 3-on-3, it's full court. So game days are really kind of their off day.
Slay, your group would have liked that.
Yeah, we would have loved that, but Coach just made my knees hurt a little bit talking about that right there. Just had PTSD about that. But this is a little snort too right there.
Snort.
All kind of stuff going on with that. But Coach, now moving forward, when you look back on your year, what was your biggest moment? Do you think that you can put your finger on one of those that you had to take a deep breath like, all right, we're on the right track?
Yeah, I think when we won at Ohio State and made it to the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Walked them down.
Yeah, our wheels were falling off a little bit there towards the end, and we really had to regroup.
Yeah.
I mean, we really had to dial it back in, and I think the players did a great job of that. And so that was kind of a breath of like, all right, like no matter what happens next, we can build off of this.
Love it.
I read where you've said that, you know, you'll get together with the assistant coaches before you address your team in a timeout, and you'll go over there and they're already talking about exactly what you're about to tell them. That's got to mean a lot to you. That's a complete understanding of time, moment, what we're doing.
Yeah, and it took us a long time to get there.
Yeah.
And anytime you have a new head coach and you have 15 new players that have never played for this person, it takes a long time to get on the same page. And so we finally did it. And so that's one thing I'm really excited about next season is our core is coming back. We didn't lose any productive players to the portal. So they should already know what the standard is, and we should have more coaches on the floor from the jump.
How big was that UConn win?
That was a good one.
Solid win.
What did Gino say to you after?
I don't remember. I was trying real hard not to smile. I was trying to act cool and collected going through the handshake line.
I mean, that was a hell of a team you beat that day. That's
It
for
was.
sure.
It was.
Yeah. I am glad, in terms of you having the baby, that Kim Mulkey did not deliver the baby on the floor. I'm glad that we were there.
I'm not sure she was qualified.
But she would have done it. She would have tried.
She would have definitely done it.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned going into to year two. How much of what we saw with regard to your plan in terms of gameplay is what it'll be? Or are you adding things? Could you get all of it in?
Yeah, I think we can tweak a few things here and there. I think we'll have some better motors on the team. People will be able to play a little bit longer minutes. I'm hopeful. I mean, we pressed for 40 minutes, and we were like number 11th in the country in steals, which is not
Like
great.
how, yeah.
So,
Yeah, you did set the school record, like,
yeah, but I
right at
mean,
the beginning of the
if
season.
we're the only team in the country that's pressing that much and we're that low in steals, like we need to be getting more steals. We
Yeah.
need to have some dogs out there that'll go get the ball.
How has this guy been to you, Rick Barnes?
Nonstop.
Nonstop.
Always on it.
Does he give you crap like he does everybody else?
Absolutely.
Kim, it's good to see you. Congrats on all the
Thank you
success
so much.
and the birth of your baby.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There's Kim Caldwell, Lady Vols basketball coach. Rick Barnes coming up to the table now. Thank you. Very good. Made your knees hurt, huh?
Dude, like 2-on-1, 1-on-1, full court, like that's. Listen, as we get the OG, the veteran walking up, he understands my type of game. We need to get this to a half court set. Let's get this down and break it down in quarters. We're gonna play on the first third of the side of the floor. All this running up and down at this age, I don't need to do that.
He's
Coach.
been affected by Kim Mulkey talking about her transition game and her Florida, baseline to baseline
in
game.
practice, Coach.
He
in
said,
practice.
yeah, she said 2.5 hours. He said it's making my knees hurt.
First of all, he couldn't do one of her practices. He couldn't do it, believe me. I've watched her practice.
Yeah.
She practices as hard as any team I've ever seen, men or women. So the sleigh man?
Yeah, Coach. I know what a Gatorade is and the trash can, Coach. I'm all right.
No, the cramps.
Yeah,
The cramps.
I'll put me on the bike.
Let's start there with Kim. How impressed were you with the job that she and her staff and her players did this year?
Really impressed because, one, I think it's one of the greatest hires ever.
Yes.
You think about the job being what it is, one of, obviously, arguably the best. And for Danny to go through the process, and in the end, he said that Kim got the job because of the interview. She was very calm, sure of what she was doing and how she wanted to play, and he said it really intrigued him. And I will tell you without question, nobody in the country, men or women, ran more than our women's basketball team last year in the offseason. Nobody. They were on the track. They were everywhere.
It's going to be fun to watch the year 1 to year 2 jump. And she's
I
got
think
players
she's got
coming too.
different players,
Yeah.
more players. But
Yeah.
She would tell you that she had a group that did buy in, and I do think her style caught people off guard. I can tell you, late in games, you saw where their conditioning wore down
Yes,
people.
it did.
It did wear down people.
Zakai was certainly a special player for Tennessee. He's been through so much. Spectacular career, incredible person. I'm curious what it means to you to have been the coach that has been there for this part of his journey.
It's really one of the great stories when you think about he was almost to a point he was going to give it up because I think a couple schools in New York, maybe Rider, Marist, St. Peter's had maybe offered him a scholarship. But he didn't want to do that because if you know him, as we do now, he had a much higher plan for himself. And what really happened, we had a scholarship, and we were looking to maybe sign a project with a post guy because we've always kind of done that. And knowing that Kennedy, when he was coming in, and he had made it clear that he wanted to be one and done, and just within a week, I said to our coaches, instead of signing a big guy, let's get a point guard and that we think so we don't have to start over again next year. And it was the last week of recruiting at Augusta, and just so happened the game I won. I mean, he just put on a show, but he was really more of a shooting guard. He really wasn't a point guard.
Yeah, the highlights of him scoring it.
And then he came in, and I kid about it. I said after a week, I thought we should redshirt Kennedy.
Yeah.
You know? And because Zakai came to redshirt.
Right.
He was coming to redshirt.
Right.
But after a week, we knew we couldn't redshirt him. He ended up playing 20 minutes. You know, in practice, you're always trying to get, say, on a scale of 1 to 10, you want to get to a 10. Of all the guys we've ever coached, he probably got closer to a 10 every day than any player we've ever coached.
That's tough.
And but the way you see him play, that's how he practiced.
Coach, you're moving forward. The way the basketball world is, it just goes round and round. It don't stop. It don't wait for nobody. But you have an opportunity now to walk into this season with a full, and this is my bias, a full front court. The depth right there, and different guys right there. You can throw a bully out there in Jalen Carey, who was one of my favorites in the SEC. Estrella coming back. Cade, the growth that he had. I'm not sure in your tenure, outside of Kyle Alexander, I saw somebody catch on so quick and make a jump like Felix Okpara did towards the end of the season. Coach, he wasn't making like a 3-foot hook at the beginning of the season. Y'all were going to him down the stretch of games to end it.
I think we'll be able. I'm with you. I think our depth there, and you throw in Dwayne Brown from
the big fella coming from Alabama.
He's not as big as Jalen, but he's big.
Yeah.
And I think Jalen gives us something that we really haven't had since Grant.
Yes.
Jalen can play both inside and out. You know, he knows how to pass. He knows how to play. And Cade Phillips is a guy that, believe it or not, we're trying to move him to the perimeter.
Right, okay.
This whole off season, we're trying to work him out there because, one, defensively, because we think he can guard his length and do some things.
Yep.
I think what's going to help him, each other with he and Nate Ament.
Yes.
They're going to be
battling each other.
Yeah.
Iron sharpening
and
iron.
Cade wants to do it. You know, Cade hadn't been playing basketball that long. You know, he was a football player, and so we're excited about that. You know, Bishop, I thought the biggest thing that happened in the offseason for us that people aren't talking about is every guy that could come back came back. And you know how that is.
Retention.
The guys in your program are the guys that have been there. They're going to have to teach these other guys coming in. Jacoby Gillespie wanted to come back home, Tennessee, a great get. Our two biggest needs when we went into the portal, we wanted a point guard and a guy just like Jalen Carey. That's what we wanted. And when we got those, we just said now we just got to be selective, be careful, and just fill in around it. But we're going to continue to recruit high school players. We're excited about those guys. But, again, I'm excited about the guys we have coming back, too.
I'm excited about Amari Evans. That's a guy that because he signed early and committed early, a lot of people have forgotten with Ament coming in.
Yeah.
Boy, I think he's going to be something.
You know what? He's got that mindset. You know, he's got a Jemiah Meshack kind of mindset where he wants to get after people.
Saw Knoxville News Sentinel today said Ament was the highest rated player ever to come to Tennessee. How excited are you about him? What does his game give you?
You know, he's a perimeter player at 6'10". You know, he's a guy that is very versatile. You're going to look at him. He's thin, and everybody's going to look at that. And he's like the Wambi at
Wembanyama.
He's like that. But he knows how to play there. And what I love about him is really what you're talking about. Our front line. He's got some bouncers to take care of him. You know, that can do that. We'll get him open. But you can put him anywhere. You can put him in ball screens. You can play him off. You can do anything you want to do with him because of his versatility. A
guy he reminds me of, and the nation doesn't know of him yet. I had an opportunity to watch him. Bob Miller. This young man right here, 7-footer. Woo! Hey, man, he got some of him in him, but really more polished on the perimeter. So,
you know, before I knew much about Ament, I saw the 6'10", and then I put in like all of his highlight tape, started watching, and there were a lot of threes going up.
Oh, he can shoot. You know, I mean, what he'll have to do. You know what? When we had Kevin Durant, because of the slighter frame, and you're counting on him. You know how it is. Everybody's going to try to beat him up, get physical with him. But they tried to do that all summer. You watched him in the summer league. Everybody went out trying to push on him to do this and do that.
Yeah.
It didn't affect him. You know, he did what he does. And the thing, he knows how to play. Even if you watched him in these all-star games, he wasn't a guy that said, I got to go out and show what I can do. He always tried to make the right play. And that's why we were, from the get-go, he was the number one guy that we wanted, and I feel he's the number one guy in the class.
Yeah.
And because of everything about him, and as good a basketball player he is, he's a better person.
What keeps driving you at this point? Where do you find the energy at this point?
Well,
every year.
There's two things. I love being around the young people and help them go. I've got to live my dream, and I want them to be able to do that. Obviously, from a program standpoint, we want to be the last team standing on Monday, but I love going into gym, practicing, and if I lose that part of it, it's time to go. But I really love being around guys that are hungry, motivated, want to work, because all of them think they do. But they don't all work.
No, they don't.
But they think they do.
Yes, they do.
And when you get a group that really goes at it, and we had that this year.
Yeah.
We had that this year, a group of guys that really went at it, and it's fun being with them because you just want to keep pushing the button to see how much higher you can get them.
We mentioned Sakai. We need to talk about Meshack. That guy was everywhere on the floor. And he would consistently bait people into passes, and then he would get there. I mean, just an incredible player to watch.
Great hips. He had his hip movement.
Like a cornerback?
Yeah,
sort of?
unbelievable. And you know what? I finally felt it's taken him 4 years for people to recognize what he does in terms of impact. You could just go back to the Alabama game. Think about it. Scored the bucket. Got a after Chav's a three-point play, but got the offensive rebound. Then went down. He's the guy that stole the ball.
Yep.
That forced the 5-second, and then made the three. But I love him because he's one of the greatest people you'll ever be around. What he did off the court, I'm not sure a lot of people know about, but he'd start these food drives, and he won the Torchbearer Award, which is the highest award you can get, and he represents you the way you want him to. And I do think he became a star in his role, and I think that's going to give him a chance to continue to play at a high level.
Love it.
I saw when I jumped out there in December and told everybody this is going to be the first time y'all going to see two guys on the same team split the Defensive Player of the Year Defensive Player of the Year award, and it almost happened, Coach. I was almost Stradamus.
Well, you know what happens on that is that we're allowed to vote for a couple guys, but if we're not careful, we'll put them in a situation they split votes, and none of them wins.
Yeah, see, that's why he was supposed to win SEC. He was supposed to win national.
And you know what happens oftentimes outside of coaches, people are looking at stats. There's a lot of some players that come up with steals.
Yep.
But they don't really guard anybody.
No, you gotta watch the game.
And they don't. But he guards, and he impacts winning at a very high level.
Fun team to watch, man. Appreciate you. Always good to see you, Coach Barnes.
Appreciate you.
Mike Keith is expecting you to give him crap on stage here in a minute.
Well, we played with him a little bit last night.
That's what he said. He's getting advice from bobbleheads now.
Here's what I told him last night. He's talking to Kim, and Kim made a comment that she hopes next year they're one of the best offensive, and he talked about all the players she's got coming. He said, well, and she said, I want to be one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country. And then he asked her another question. I said, wait a minute. Are you saying that? I said, you should have said to Kim, or you don't think you have a good shooting team. if you think you're going to get... and he said, you're right, I should ask her that.
Get the ball in the rim.
Coach, Give him the nuggets along the way, Coach. You got to school these young fellas, man.
He knows, though, when in doubt, look to the bobbleheads.
Well, I told him last night, I gave him that little bobblehead of Bert and said they just wanted to make sure you knew you had big shoes to fill.
Yep.
I got one tonight of just Kessling that I'm going to have Kim give to him. And let him
there
know,
it is.
And let him know. We're going to let him know that.
That's bubble wrapped.
That's Bob. That's Bob that says, I'll always be looking over your shoulder. And then tomorrow, I'm going to make Josh give him one of Smokey. Congratulate him on his first Big Orange story.
A whole slew of characters watching.
Bobblehead.
Rick Barnes, Says He Basketball. Thank you, Coach.
Right,
Good to see you, man.
Appreciate
All
it.
right. We'll